Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 206 of Crunch Time. I'm going to be your host for today's episode. I'm Tanner Dislin. That's Sam Godsey. And as always, we are the N326 duo. Boy, does it feel like there's a certain crispness to the air, Sam?
It does, man. We have finally made it to the best month. March is here, and some things were figured out this past week in college hoops. I'm sure we'll dive into that. But yeah, man, March Madness right around the corner. Women's conference tourneys this week. Men's next week, and then we get the bracket. Absolutely electric time, man.
No doubt about it. We are a few short weeks away from the best 4 days in I was going to say the American sports calendar, but it might just be the calendar. The best 4 days of the calendar.
It really is, man.
Just tremendous couple of days where you can just shut your brain off and watch ball all day long. But yeah, I mean, we still got some stuff to figure out towards the end of the regular season before we end up in the conference tournament. We got another week of regular season for the men, as you said. So let's talk about what happened this week in college basketball. What do you think?
Let's get into it.
All right, so we'll start on during the week. Not that much to talk about. I think during the week, especially in the early part of the week, I believe we talked about Kansas-Houston last episode.
Yeah.
That was on that Monday. On Tuesday, worth mentioning, BYU is really struggling with that Richie Saunders.
Yeah.
It seems like the season as a whole might just be lost.
Yeah. That losing your second best player is never a good thing, but it's going to be one of those things come the bracket. Can AJ DeBansa carry this team? That's really what it's going to come down to.
In the words of Mark Titus, we have Superman, and you do not.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we'll see. We'll see with that BYU team. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of out on them until the conference tournament. Obviously,
yeah,
a lot can change in the conference tournament, so I'm kind of out on them for the time being. Not a ton to discuss on that Tuesday. We get to Wednesday, Sam. Oh boy, you're talking about some things were figured out. We had a big one in the Big East because we all remember St. John's winning at MSG against UConn. Signature win for St. John's. They had a really rough start to the season. This is the indication, hey, we turned things around here. Now they go to Gamble, go to UConn, and get the absolute doors blown off of them. They score a total of 40 points in this game, Sam.
Yeah, there's kind of been a conversation surrounding UConn if they're really belong in that conversation of the Duke, the Michigan, the Arizona. This game proves it. They were absolutely incredible. Forced not easy shots for St. John's. They shot 19% from the field in this one. UConn looks as dominant as they've been in the past. Yeah, dude, this UConn team definitely proved they're the top dog in the Big East and in the country.
Top dog in the country. One of the top dogs. One of the top dogs in the country. No doubt. They're the top dog in the Big East. How many people for St. John's do you think scored in double figures?
One.
Yeah. One. And he scored 10.
There we go.
So, I mean, Ejiofor had 6. Hopkins had 8. It's a pretty good recipe for beating St. John's. Yeah.
Hopkins with 3 for 14.
Yeah, they blitzed.
Seton 3 for 10. It's never a good recipe. But it seems that it's kind of the story with these Patina-led St. John's teams. They're usually pretty good defensively, struggle to score the ball. And that seemed to be the case in this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Also worth mentioning, our Hawkeyes were in action on Wednesday They took down Ohio State pretty handily, beat them by 17. This, I think, Sam, was the win that locked in the Hawkeyes into the conference or into the NCAA tournament. But not too much to talk about here. Bennett Sturts was really good, as he has been in conference all year long. And that's all we're going to talk about Iowa basketball this week.
Yep, definitely.
But getting to Thursday, we had a good one on Thursday, Sam.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Michigan State, Purdue. Sparty walks into Mackey, gets the 2-point win, 76-74. Purdue, what the hell is this team?
Yeah, this team makes no sense. Braden Smith, I believe, broke the record in this game, if my memory serves me correctly. But, I mean, they just they just struggled down the stretch. Kaufman got the shot he wanted, couldn't connect. Michigan State, it was just a well-rounded effort from everybody. I mean, Fears Jr. With 12, Cooper with 15, the electric car with 11. It was just a well-rounded team effort from Michigan State. They're looking good going into March, and that's the Izzo special, man.
That is the Izzo special. I mean, gosh, looking at this Purdue team, so they had the 3 straight losses. We all remember that. Then they won 4 straight, which included Maryland, Oregon, Nebraska, and then Iowa, which obviously, remember, they blitzed the hell out of Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Got ran on their home floor by Michigan. Had a nice win over Indiana, and now have back-to-back losses because I'm sure we'll talk about what happened on was it Sunday or Saturday? It happened over the weekend when they ran into Ohio State. So Purdue, man, now fallen to 15. Another team that I think the story's been written. I'm done with Purdue. I'm officially I'm just done with Purdue. But on the other side, yeah, looking at Sparty, that's now 4 straight wins for them. Finished the season with Rutgers and Michigan. Obviously, Michigan State.
Yeah,
to end the season will be a doozy. But
yeah, that's gonna be a fun one.
Michigan State's figuring it out, and obviously with potential seeding coming up, anything you can do to bolster your resume is huge here. And Michigan State gets the big win in Mackey.
Yeah.
But staying in the Big Ten, Sam, because big one on Friday night in the Big Ten, Michigan goes to Champaign, takes on Illinois, and in a similar way to how they did to Purdue, who we just talked about, went into Illinois and pretty much ran them on their home floor.
Yeah, simple as that. Illinois is another really confusing team. Just a team you would expect to be better, and they just struggled in this one. Wagler did not have his best game. Had 23 points, but on a very inefficient 7 for 17. When he's not dropping 30 efficiently, it's tough for this offense. And shout out Michigan. We all remember what happened with them with Duke. Bounce back with a win against Minnesota, and then another big win for Illinois, proving once again why they're one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan is undebatably in that upper echelon with Arizona, with Duke, and some other teams that have been flirting with that, which we mentioned before. But yeah, the resume is great. Obviously, remember their non-con. They went into Purdue, ran them on their home floor. Went into Illinois, beat them up on their home floor. I mean, they have a win against Michigan State on the road. This team is just this is really good.
Very good.
This team is just really good. Did you and Brad Underwood? also thinks Michigan is really good because in his post-game presser, he brought out the belt to describe how Michigan beat Illinois.
Yeah, that's cringe. But he didn't say belt to ass.
I think he said belt to behind.
That's so corny.
Belt to behind.
If you're gonna go that way, go 100%. Don't go 70%. Like, come on. Say belt to ass, get the fine, pay the fine. But yeah, that was cringe for sure.
No doubt about it, but also, Sam, worth mentioning, a game that had major ramifications in the tournament landscape. The best story in college basketball right now, depending on who you are, might be the 29-0 Miami of Ohio Redhawks, I think.
Yeah.
Redhawks. Yep. Might just be the 29-0 Miami of Ohio Redhawks.
Yep.
And they ran into the 10-19 Western Michigan Broncos. And, well, I guess what's worth mentioning is Miami won the game. They won the game. They needed a comeback, 1-2.
Last second
shot. Incredibly clutch shot. No one's debating that. We lost a speaker.
Yeah, that was weird.
We lost a speaker in this game, so prayers up to the speaker. Shout out that DJ that just had his speaker thrown to the ground and broken. But there's a bigger conversation to be had here, Sam, because Miami is 29-0. Miami has had some scares, as any team will, during the course of a 30-plus game season. There's some postseason chatter, but look, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
That's all we can say, right?
Yeah. It's obviously the great debate going on. If they lose in their conference tournament, what happens? And it seems there is a high majority discussing that they might be on upset watch. But I don't know where I sit here. I really don't, because yes, if they do, obviously if they go undefeated, win their conference, they're in. But with a one loss, I don't know, because I don't think they're one of the best the 68 best teams.
Yeah, like it's a really hard conversation to have. Look,
and it's not it. We would be having a different story if they were just ransacking teams, like beating them by 25, 30.
UMass by 2, Buffalo by 2.
They needed an overtime win in a couple of these, but like they're not. They haven't been super it's not like
the eye test is not all that favorable in some of these conference games, but at the end of the day, like, conference wins are hard. These teams know each other. It's hard to win games in conference, and they've won them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really, really hard conversation to be had, and I hope, because like this team deserves to be playing in the tournament, and I hope they just win their conference, so it takes all stuff out of it. In terms of an at-large, to be honest with you, I kind of lean towards. I'm kind of with you. Like, I don't entirely. I lean towards. I don't know how you can put them in. They've legitimately played nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But like, apparently their coach is saying we're trying to schedule these teams, which, like, who knows if that's true.
Yeah.
Other MAC teams have had no problem scheduling. I don't seem to remember preseason being like, this Miami of Ohio team, they could be really good.
Yeah.
And where coaches are like, I don't want to play them.
Yeah, exactly.
But the bottom line is, and I think the most important thing here is an undefeated Miami of Ohio will not be let out of the tournament.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely.
just I really hope it'll be a travesty, an absolute travesty if they lose in the conference championship
Yeah.
and they get left out, because they deserve to be representing this team. They're clearly the best team. By the way, did you know that the auto bids,
Yeah.
the conference chooses to send?
Really? I did not know
I
that.
didn't know. I learned that today, actually.
Huh.
And like they always just choose the tournament because
Yeah.
that makes the most sense.
Interesting.
I heard it today. Of course, I took it as um I didn't fact check it, but I heard it from a relatively reliable source. And I believe it. So
Interesting.
I could have just lied to you, but I saw. But yeah, it's just tradition, and obviously at this point, it's so clear that conference
Yeah.
play plays that no one's going to break it. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I would never guess that.
Me neither. Me neither. But yeah, that's the Miami of Ohio thing. Just like I said, and I think a lot of college basketball fans agree. Just please win your conference, so we don't even have to have this
Yeah.
conversation, because it could be an ugly one. But Sam, that sets us up for Saturday,
Yeah.
and a big Saturday it was. Where should we start on Saturday, Sam?
I think we just go kind of in chronological order.
Okay. Yeah, we'll start with a statement made in the ACC,
Yep.
because we had clearly the best team and what was clearly the second best team in the conference matching up at Cameron Indoor at in Duke. Well, Duke ran them off the floor.
Yeah.
77-51 was the final. It wasn't even that close. Dominated them, and this has put together a stretch for Duke. Get ready for these scores. So, since losing to North Carolina, they beat Pittsburgh by 16, whatever. They beat a ranked Clemson by 13. They beat Syracuse by 37. Obviously, the big win against Michigan, who was number one at the time, by 5. Notre Dame by 44.
Yeah.
Biggest loss for Notre Dame since like the 1800s. And then they beat the second best team in the conference, 11 ranked Virginia, by 26.
Yeah. They're on an absolute tear right now, and that's stuff you love to see going into the tournament. Cameron Boozer is the best college basketball player this year. He should be awarded for what he's done this year. We'll see if they go with a more exciting pick, but I think everybody would agree that Cam Boozer has had the best season this year and is a big reason why Duke is sitting as the top dog right now.
Yeah, we have this weird thing in basketball that as a fandom, as a group of people who like basketball, we desperately need to get over, and that is just immediately declaring the flashiest players are the best players.
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing about Cameron Boozer is flashy. He's very fundamental. He doesn't really he scores from the fundamental areas. He rebounds the ball. He plays just good basketball.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get the attention that a DeBonza has because it doesn't have 46 points.
Yeah.
But you look at the scoreboard, even in this game where Duke was wire to wire, and it never really. I wouldn't even say he played his best game. He had 18 and 9. I mean, that's just another day at the office.
Yeah.
And frankly, I would say a bad day at the office for him. But it just goes completely unnoticed because of all the freshmen dropping 40 and whatever. But yes, I totally agree with you there. But Duke has, I mean, they just clear number one seed, probably the number one overall seed,
Yeah.
and probably the ACC is theirs to lose, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But moving along, I mean, in this early window, UConn survives a scare to Seton Hall. On senior night, Alex Caravan got his number retired. Good for him.
Weird.
Yeah, I thought about it too. It is a little strange. He is a two-time national champion. Like, he's one of their better players. It's weird. Yeah, so early at least.
Yeah.
But Houston beat the pants out of Colorado, beat him by 40. And Louisville has a tough one at Clemson. But in the SEC, Vanderbilt kind of flirting it out of the top 25.
Yeah.
They lose to Kentucky. But the big one before we get to that, actually, if we want to keep it that noon Eastern slot, Iowa has a really, really tough performance at Penn State and loses to one of the worst teams, probably the worst team in the power conferences.
Yeah, not a good look, especially when you're kind of on the fringe of the tournament. Definitely an inexcusable loss. Didn't play our best. There's no doubt about it. But when you face a team that's just hitting everything, it's tough. But
yeah, I mean, in the second half, I do want to see what the final numbers were, but in the second half, there was a point where Penn State was shooting nearly 70% from the field and over 60% from three. The final numbers, Penn State shot 64% from the field and 60% from three. Yeah, it's just, you're not going to. I don't care what the record says. You're not going to win games when your opponent shoots like that. So it's tough, and Iowa's schedule to finish out is really tough.
Yeah.
Michigan and Nebraska, obviously Nebraska and Lincoln, and looking to get revenge from when Iowa beat them earlier in the year. So it'll be.
Yeah.
It's a tough way to end the season if you're Iowa. But I mean, and the other big one in that early window on Saturday was in the Big 12, where Arizona took on Kansas and looking to avenge, the earlier loss at Allen Fieldhouse. Koa Pete's back for Arizona, and boy, did they look good.
Yeah, they look dominant this one. Darren Pearson did not play particularly well. Finished with 24, but on 8 for 21. Trey White, who was a savior for KU a couple games ago, he struggled shooting 4 for 10. Bryson Tiller 1 for 6, and Flory Badunga, who has been a huge part of the KU offense, 1 for 5. But Arizona has made quite the comeback since losing to KU, and then later to Tech. They have been on an absolute tear, beating BYU 75-68, Houston 73-66, Baylor 87-80, and then of course Kansas 84-61. Got a big one tonight, but this team looks so damn good on Saturday. Definitely proved why they are and have been for the majority of the season a top three team all year. Burries, Bradley, you can point to damn near anybody on this team in this one, and they were just absolutely dominant.
I would like to throw in Arizona beating Houston in Houston is the biggest win of the season for any team. They lose that game, and Arizona loses 3 in a row with Pete's injury looming. The wheels could very easily fly off the bus.
Yeah.
That is the biggest win of any team this year, in my opinion. And it got Arizona instantly right back on the tracks. Now Pete's back, and they're putting together big-time wins. When it looked like the sky was falling, a mere 2 weeks later, they're back in the 2-9, and they're looking like they're easily one of the three best teams in college basketball.
Yeah.
With obviously we keep mentioning, but with Duke and Michigan. So that was such a big win for Arizona. And this one, they just took care of business, as you mentioned, a big one tonight in the Big 12. Tonight being on Monday. But let's talk about the other half in that in the big time matchup in the Big 12 tonight, because they're playing Iowa State on Monday night. Iowa State welcomed in Texas Tech into Hilton without JT Toppin, National Player of the Year candidate, one of the best players in college basketball, best player on Texas Tech. And Tech still marches in and hands Iowa State an 82-73 loss.
Yeah, I was in attendance for this one. And simply put, Texas Tech could not miss in this one. I mean, they shot 58% from the field, 48% from three. They were shooting lights out, and that is all because of Atwell. Donovan Atwell was phenomenal in this one. 18 points, 6 for 10 from three. Anderson as well, 14 points. Had Mosley and Bryan coming off the bench with 10 apiece. This team was incredible. They exposed a weakness in Iowa State that a lot of people haven't really attacked, which shocks me, and that's Milan Momcilovic's defense. The bright spot in that defense. Obviously, we all know about his 3-point shooting this year, but Texas Tech went right at him, and they took advantage, got easy buckets all game, and silenced that Hilton faithful, and looked dominant doing it.
Yeah, you're 100% the difference making in this game was shot making, and in particular, difficult shot making.
Yeah.
Like, just without JT Toppin, this team really struggles for a post presence, and the entirety of the game was Texas Tech's guards and even their wing forwards just making shots, whether it was threes. There were some latent shot clock off the dribble pull-ups that went in. Like, it was just really impressive shot making. And even with the foul issues, Texas Tech was in major foul trouble. Obviously, this game was in Hilton, so obviously Iowa State's going to get a 25-point free throw advantage. That's just how the game goes. And didn't matter. Texas Tech just made enough shots to win this game, and it was really impressive. I didn't think they had a chance in this game, Sam.
Yeah. I mean, something that is something to keep an eye on with this Cyclone team is they struggle from the line.
They do.
And that has been a story all season with them. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, a huge win for Texas Tech. They sneakily are building quite the resume. Obviously down JT Toppin, but win at Iowa State, at Arizona, versus Houston, versus BYU, and then and obviously the big one, win against Duke. But if you go back in their schedule, they barely lost to Illinois early on. It kind of got dog walked by Purdue, which is shocking. But barely lost to Arkansas. Barely lost at Houston. This team they got some dog in them. And I think that showed on Saturday, now up to 10th in the country. They are going to be a sleeper. A lot of people might overlook with JT Toppin out.
I'm thinking maybe not be overlooked anymore. Hopefully the world saw they still got dudes who can score the basketball. Yeah. This is not a team you want to run into in March. So I was I didn't even really take that much away from Iowa State. They came out a step slow in the first half.
Yeah.
They fell into a big deficit, tried to claw their way back. Yeah, I'm sure there's conversations about start, but I was just shocked by how well Texas Tech played in this game, Sam. That every single time Iowa State went on a run, Texas Tech answered, and that was my takeaway.
Yeah, here. Absolutely.
But speaking of the Big 12, a team that is an absolute free fall, BYU lost to West Virginia.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what happens when you invest only in one player.
Which is confusing because, like, obviously the Saunders stuff, but like
Yeah,
they were already having it already kind of sliding at that point. And Debance has been like a success. Like he's been good. It's not like they got this guy who comes in and he's
yeah,
not playing well. Like no, Debance has been good. Like I don't. It's weird, but yeah, they are really really struggling, and now are probably on the certainly on the outside of that top 25, and looking at I don't know what are we
yeah,
seed
yeah.
six seed.
I guess the only thing is when your second best scorer gets pulled, a lot more attention goes on Debansa. But yeah, definitely free falling right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, no doubt about it. But other conferences played big games, Sam. Not just the Big 12. We'll go to the Big East because St. John's answered from the shellacking from UConn and gave one to Villanova
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, white suit Patino
White
made
suit
an
Patino.
appearance. Great bounce back win by St. John's. I know I was like, all right, this is the end for St. John's, but Ejiofor bounced back in a huge way. A nice little triple double for you. He was absolutely phenomenal. When you have a dude coming off the bench, Ian Jackson, a name that was expected to be a little bigger piece of St. John's transferring from UNC last year. He put up 19 off the bench. And Prey as well, pitching in on the bench points, 10 points. They looked absolutely dominant. So it seems St. John's has definitely righted the ship for sure.
No doubt about it. There was just it was between the white suit, the embarrassment at UConn. Patino called this the biggest game of the year. They came out hot. They knew what this meant, and they definitely played as you would expect.
Yeah.
But let's go to the SEC because we had a couple ranked matchups in the SEC.
I think it's just one.
Well, there were two ranked matchups. One of them was
We don't need to talk about
one was a good game.
Jeez.
One was a good
Yeah.
game. Alabama goes to Knoxville, takes out Tennessee. Another really confusing team. A couple of confusing teams. I'm not really sure. I mean, obviously, neither of these teams are like seem to be in the upper echelon of teams, and definitely down from years past. But look, Alabama gets a big win at Tennessee.
Yeah. I believe it was this game. Their best player goes out with an injury. Nate Amint.
Yes.
In a game he could have proved a lot. But this was the
looked pretty gnarly too. He got his leg twisted. It didn't look very
good. You hate to see that.
He played 11. Only played 11.
Going into March, but LeBaron 5-1.
Yes.
Was incredible. 23 points. Another dude that is not getting the respect he should, because I think he's a really good ball player. Has kind of been doing it all year, to be honest with you, Tanner. Has been a very bright spot for this Alabama, kind of the engine that keeps it going. And once again, he was an incredible. Wrightsell Jr. as well. Were kind of the main catalyst for this explosive Alabama offense.
Yeah, I mean, the two of them combined for 48 points on 16 shots. Not only volume, but efficiency is the key there. Yeah, I mean, Alabama, they don't play an ounce of defense. Obviously, this game was a little bit better defensively. They only gave up 69 as opposed to 115. But that's the problem in March. But at the end of the day, it's like you see Alabama on the other side. We're gonna need to score because Alabama is gonna score. But yeah, I mean, I don't even really Tennessee. Has there been a update on?
I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything either. It feels like that's That's your season.
Yeah.
Feels like that's your season.
Jacoby Gillespie did all he could, but it just wasn't enough, unfortunately. But they had a chance down the stretch. Was a pitiful last play, but without one of your best players only losing like in that fashion, obviously you want to pull that off. But Tennessee, both of these teams have been very confusing because I think they are better than what their record shows.
Probably.
But yeah, very confusing. But one of the better games on this Saturday for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then the other SEC game.
Yeah, no, there wasn't.
Florida. I think the word I used in the moment, I think, as the one I keep going back to because it just the most accurately describes what Florida's doing to the rest of the SEC right now. Because they are on a war path. They're murdering everyone in their way.
Yeah,
everyone in their way, and they are now the hottest team. Maybe Duke is the hottest team.
I think it might be Florida.
I think it
'cause
might
they
be
are
Florida.
just killing.
I think it might be Florida.
I mean,
too.
111 in regulation is insane.
Yeah, just gnarly, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight wins for Florida with their last loss against Auburn.
Who'd they open up with
this season?
Yeah,
Arizona.
Because I remember at the beginning, everyone was like, "All right, this ain't Florida of last year," which it's not.
They lost to Arizona by 6 and Duke by 1.
Yeah,
non-con.
Yeah,
that's not the whole story because they did lose to TCU by 4 and then UConn by 4. So those were the 4 losses. All those 4 losses came before December 9th.
Yeah.
So at that point they were 1, 2, 3, 4. They were 5 and 4.
Yeah. Yeah. But back to this game. This game was exposed Arkansas's biggest weakness, and that's the lack of a big. Because Florida absolutely ate Condon, had 17, 6, and 2. How 22, 5, and 2. Shinny Lou, 12 and 16. Boogie Flan, 14. Xavier Lee, 13. They were just absolutely dominant in this one. Clavstar off the bench, 14. Brown off the bench, 11. There's a reason this was as ugly as it is. And on the Arkansas side, Darius Acuff did all he could, 22 points. 17 points. Not his most efficient game. But Billy Richmond did all he could. It just wasn't the Hogs' day. Noah Pringle had foul trouble early. 4 personal fouls on the game. Travion Brazil had 4 personal fouls as well. So those are your 2 bigs. That Arkansas doesn't run a very deep rotation. They go 7, and that was definitely exposed because their backup center forward, Ewan, also had 4 fouls. So it was just a dominant performance by the bigs of the Gators, and Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee just complemented it perfectly.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Lack of size, and it just talk about teams that can score. Arkansas can score. They also tend to give up points.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A couple. Within the past couple weeks, the 100 plus to Bama and 100 plus. Bama was in double overtime, in fairness, but 111 to Florida. In regulation, Florida looks unbelievable right now, and it is really interesting. We mentioned the 3 big dogs in the sport. UConn, where it looks like that conference is pretty much theirs to lose. Florida, who's been the best team in the SEC since conference play started. Those 2, plus maybe you add in an Iowa State or Houston if they can do anything in the Big 12. Like they're all competing for one overall seat. So that will be very interesting to see. But Sam, the nightcap on Saturday, in the very last regular season conference matchup between Gonzaga and St. Mary's. The Gales come out victorious. That's now 2 conference losses for Gonzaga, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch this. I think this is one of the most overrated rivalries in college basketball, because it's like a team that could possibly beat the dominant Gonzaga. Like that's not. So I'm shocked. I figured Gonzaga was going to kind of take care of it, and it wasn't going to be much of a fight. But St. Mary's came out. Mikey Lewis, 31 points, crazy. But yeah,
I think with this rivalry, I like it because it's like it's not Duke UNC, it's not must see TV of like Gonzaga and St. Mary's are playing. I liked it in the fact that they're the only 2 programs worth anything in their
yeah,
conference, so they just always play each other in conference championship games and always play each other, and so
yeah,
that
for sure.
That would always happen. But yeah, St. Mary's gets the win in the final regular season conference matchup between these two. Hopefully they continue playing each other when Gonzaga finally goes to the Pac-12 like we had always wanted. But this time they're going to the Pac-12 with the entire Mountain West and not joining Arizona State, Oregon, USC, UCLA, like we all wanted. But that's that Saturday. Move on to Sunday. Sunday had some big time Big Ten action, Sam.
Yeah.
Ohio State gets a big win over Purdue. Huge for their resume. Purdue now with 2 straight losses, one at home to Michigan State, one on the road to Ohio State. Conversation around Ohio State is getting interesting now. Obviously, they're firmly on the bubble. This was a huge win for that resume. Purdue not necessarily in free fall, but it's we need to figure this out.
Yeah, it's definitely getting concerning for Purdue, but like you said, massive win for Ohio State. They've been on the fringe down the stretch, and getting a big one over eight ranked Purdue is a great way to boost that resume.
And they have Penn State and Indiana to finish. That could very easily be 2 wins.
Yeah.
Which would put them at 20-11 with that win over Purdue. So things could get interesting.
Yeah.
And then lastly in the Big Ten, Michigan State continues adding on after that big win over Purdue. They win at Assembly Hall, take down Indiana.
Yeah.
77-64.
Yeah. Another classic. Izzo just beat the weaker opponent. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
And they did that.
No doubt about it. But you mentioned earlier that we figured some things out this week, Sam. And I think that's where we end this conversation about what we found out, because to me, what we found out, Florida's the top dog in the SEC, UConn's the top dog in the Big East. Those maybe you came to that conclusion before last week. Obviously, this week is when it was put out, when it was evident. And then I learned a lot about the ACC, that they all stink except for Duke.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Big one. The Big 12 is obviously going to be the most intriguing
battlefield.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, because there's like 4 or 5, even 6 teams that could probably win that conference tournament. And what's that look like? It's going to be fun. It's going to be definitely one you got to watch like every game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But should we highlight games to watch this week?
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously today, Monday night, will already know by the time you're listening to this, but Iowa State and Arizona. Big one. This one in Arizona. Looking to avenge that loss.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, looking to these teams haven't played yet. I don't know why I said that, but looking to I see why. Iowa State is looking to avenge that loss against Texas Tech is what I meant. But what else you got what you got for me the rest of the week?
Obviously, the smaller conference tournaments are going on, so that's always fun. But for the big time matchups, honestly, kind of a lull for a little bit there. Iowa playing on Thursday against Michigan. That's gonna be an interesting one. Iowa could, if
At
they
least
can,
we're home, I guess.
yeah, if they can pull that one out, that would be an awesome resume builder. But Saturday again, not. We got Vandy, Tennessee on Saturday, Florida, Kentucky, UNC, Duke. Then we have on Sunday, Michigan State, Michigan, and Iowa, Nebraska. So not a amazing slate down the stretch, but there's some sneaky good games for sure.
For sure. Like you said. And I always love seeing the like ticket punched and you see,
Oh yeah,
the who's winning the minor conference the uh mid-major conferences and even the low major conferences. Those are always fun.
oh yeah.
Those are always fun for sure. But anything else on this on episode 206 before we wrap up?
Not really. We could dive into the draft combine, but really, I don't get into that. I know a lot of people do. Arkansas's playmakers had a pretty damn good performance. Taylor Green was unbelievable, and their running back, blanking on his name. He ran like a 4.3 on the 40, unreal. You'd think their team would have been a little better, but they were 2-10 last year. But Jennings Dunker seems to be the sweetheart of the combine. Obviously, can be probably a first rounder. Unbelievable lineman for the Hawks. Mike Washington Jr. That was the running back for the Hawks. 4.33. Taylor Green's profile 6'6", which is the same as Jaylen Brown. 227 pounds, same as Nick Chubb. A 4.36 40, same as Jahmyr Gibbs. 134 broad jump, same as DK Metcalf. 43.5 vert. That's 2 inches higher than Zach Levine's. Just an absolute freak of nature. But that's going on. Doesn't the World Baseball Classic start this
That's
week?
where I was going to go next. Yeah, so I can recap the combine. A lot of really athletic people did a bunch of really athletic stuff. They ran pretty fast, They jumped really high, and they lifted really heavy weight.
Correct.
And that's the combine talk with the boys. But yeah, the World Baseball Classic officially starts on Wednesday. Wednesday we have Chinese Taipei versus Australia, and then the USA's first game is on Friday. They play Brazil on Friday, so that'll be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Get to watch the boys in action. That is at 8 p.m. Eastern, so 7 Central.
Yeah.
So that will be great.
Word.
But that's going to do it for episode 206. Oh, boy, does it feel good to be in March, Sam. We are just a few short weeks. We are 1 week away from the start of the best time of the year.
Yeah.
And that's it. But make sure to like, comment and subscribe to the YouTube at Crunch Time with the N326 Duo, and make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok at crunchtime_pod. But the clock has run out on this episode, and we'll see you in the next one on Crunch.